What's up, guys? It is Antoine here once again for Mad Talk. Mad Talk is all about showing how entrepreneurs and creatives are making a difference in their everyday world. And today, I have Andy Krainak here, and we're going to talk to him about a couple of different things. And I know Andy's ready. I know I'm ready. I know you guys are ready. So let's get it. All right. So Andy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in the creative field?
There's a lot of amazing creatives on my team that are making all the amazing content that everyone sees out of Gary on the internet. I don't even really identify as a creative on the team. I think everyone's creative in their own capacity. I just help manage the output and strategy of everything that we're doing for Gary's brand and making sure everyone's rocking and rolling. But I've always enjoyed the creative process and the different iterations of how many forms and fashions you can make as you make a piece of creative or a piece of content. Quick backline story of how I got to be where I am now is I went to Virginia Tech. I took a wine course at Virginia Tech, and at that course we actually had to watch Gary's Wine Library TV videos. So that's how I got introduced to Gary. I graduated school. Most of college, I didn't really know what I was doing in college. I had to pay tribute to my mother and get that college degree, which I'm fortunate that she had education as a priority for me. But at the same time, I really didn't know what I was doing there. So
I understand that.
I graduated and I wanted to just explore myself, explore my interests, understand where I fit in the world. So I traveled abroad. I taught English in Thailand, and I coached basketball in China. And during that time, I met a bunch of digital nomads back then. This is like 2011, 12, 13, making money on the internet. I'm like, wow, this is dope. Like, you can make money on the internet and you can work for yourself. So then I rediscovered Gary, and he was no longer a wine guy. He was talking business stuff. And I'm like, damn, I just resonated with the stuff that he was saying. So I came home, and after my travels, and I'm like, all right, Mom, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to build an app. I'm going to do all this stuff. She's like, what are you talking about, man? Long story short, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really have the skill set necessary or the mindset necessary to be a solo entrepreneur at that time. So when I found Gary's stuff, I'm like, damn, this is someone I really could work for. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about in terms of social media marketing, and this is before Facebook had ads, before Facebook had video. This was just talking about like organic tweets mattering for brands, and like brands having a Facebook page so they could post status posts. But it made sense, and he's talking about being the one that's closest to the consumer, and the customer is going to win, and it's all going to be about relevancy and content and access. So anyways, I tweeted him and I asked to work for free, and he said to email him. I emailed him. He responded 6 months later almost and said, how little are you willing to work for? Where do you want to live? I'm fortunate to have had my brother be living in the city at the time. So I immediately was like, I'll live in New York and I'll work for free. And he responded, he's like, I like this kid for some reason. Why don't you come and intern for my book? And that was 7 years ago. So I packed my bags, moved to New York, slept on my brother's couch, and now here I am on the podcast talking about it.
To go back to something that you said about you asked Gary to work for free, to really talk to him, to really access, getting to working with him and everything like that. How important is doing free work as a creative? Because I work with a lot of film students, and you probably won't be surprised by the story I tell you, is that a lot of them take issue with thinking that they have to work for free just to enter the game and everything like that.
Really contentious, right? Like, especially for creatives, because I think in general, it's tough to make money as a creative because we're not salespeople,
No.
I think the perfect combination is when someone who's selling something they don't believe in can pair themselves with a creative and they actually have a real business, I think creatives in general struggle to make money because it's not their skill sets. Being sales oriented and really entrepreneurial is really a different muscle than being creative, and vice versa. Like, a lot of people just don't have that DNA of coming up with like really, really creative concepts, But point blank, I think about it in the same way, whether you're creative or you're young Andy or you're anybody in the world, like what's your alternative? Cool, don't work for free. Cool, don't put out your stuff for free. I just think that's the best at bat you're gonna have when you don't have anything else working for you. You
Of
know,
course.
it's when you, if someone's knocking on my door and someone's saying, hey, I'll do it for $500, and the person say I'm gonna do it for free, I'm gonna choose the person that's doing it for free if I think they can do a good job. And then all of a sudden, that person that did it for free should have something that would then put them in a place to then charge for their services. You know, in my instance with Gary, I couldn't come and be like, yo, let me work for you and you're gonna pay me $100,000 a year, $50K a year, anything. I didn't feel like I was in a place to be able to ask for that. I was just
Mhm.
hoping for an at bat to be able to prove myself at anything. You know, I just knew I was hungry and I was gonna learn and work at any at all means necessary.
One of my big things that I try to tell a lot of creatives, because I've worked, well, I haven't worked with someone as the level as Gary before, but I've been around people like Evan Carmichael, who I've spoken to
Yeah.
a good amount. Sean Kennel and Heather Torres, like I was telling you before.
Yeah.
I've been around them, and it's just like the mindset these people have compared to the ones who are like not really that successful. I don't know if you ever really noticed that at times. Like their mindset is different.
Honestly, I don't know because I've been so Gary's in my head now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I'm just it's ingrained in me. It's how anyone that rolled like D-Rock, Tyler, my closest mates and coworkers,
Hmm.
um, we're different humans. After being around Gary for 7 years and also just being around the mindset of success and winning, and it's not what you think it is. It's actually extremely predicated on work, and like it sounds like funny and superficial, but like someone DM'd me the other day, was like, keep grinding, like one day all this work will pay off. And I responded, I was like, yeah, I used to think so, but that's a
Hmm.
dangerous path. Like it's not, you don't do the work so that you get the payoff, man. The work is the payoff. My payoff right now is that I'm an expert in Facebook ads. My payoff right now is that I can go to any brand or company right now and audit their socials and do so at a capacity that I would say is at the top craft of anybody on the planet. You know,
Yes.
it's not that I now get to go on a yacht.
No, I understand. No, hey, listen. I've worked with again. I've worked with a lot of creatives who haven't been with someone like Gary, and hasn't really consumed Gary's
Dude, like
content.
I'm getting a little fired. Like the whole, dude,
Hmm.
if you're an aspiring creative right now, right? Like you're trying to make money, think about it.
Yes.
I can go to everyone, like the YouTubers and other people that you mentioned that have a different mentality of success and just like mindset in general.
Hmm.
I'm a hungry creative. I can either go to them and be like, yo, Evan, I'm gonna make a bunch of content for your socials. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be epic. You got to pay me like 5K for the month, and it'll be awesome, right?
Hmm.
Or I can say, Evan, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do it for free. The chances of him saying yes is more likely if you say free, right? If you did that for Evan and all the other people that you just mentioned for free,
Hmm.
now you have something in your bag, because then I can go to Puff Daddy and be like, hey, Puff, I have made creative for these 15 amazing people. Here's the work that I've done. He's like, bet, here's $1 million campaign, go make a commercial. You're
There
never
you
gonna have
go,
that. Or you can just have nothing,
and
because
continue to write.
all you ever got was no's.
Hmm. And
You
continue
know,
to complain.
it's a game of leverage. Like you need to have something on your belt.
Yeah, because you see potential in people. You see the potential in them. You're like, hey, you're very talented. Like you could go far if you get out of your own way. And that's why and that's essentially what a lot of leadership, like especially transformational leaders, try to do. And I think that's what you've learned over time while working with Gary and working with the team and everything like that. So my next question for you would be, because I want to really get into more of the creative realm and everything like that. Now, as you know, a brand manager, of course, who essentially is on your team? Do you have videographers on your team, graphic designers, or like what exactly does your team look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have so we have a video unit, we have a video team,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6 video editors primarily. You know, a lot of our work is strictly post-production. We have 1 or 2 people, one person film Gary,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then everyone else is editing, chopping it up, trying to make it specific to platforms. Then we have a collective group of individuals who I more identify with, who are channel managers, which are specific experts on platforms that know how to look at analytics, that know how to give creative feedback based on performance, that can monitor and publish on these platforms and really maybe run paid media on those platforms and just use those weapons to the best of our own advantages. We have copywriters and we have designers. But
Okay.
so in a creative aspect, it's really you either make images or graphics or you're editing videos.
And I agree with that because from what I've seen on YouTube, it's the same thing. It's the same. You just got to keep making videos and just keep on pushing because you
But
don't know what's gonna work.
yeah, but and that's why I go back to like, you have to be comfortable with like it not being as good as you want it to be. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to come out the gates like Joe Rogan or Gary Vee or anything. You got to just press publish and then you'll get feedback and then you'll get better. But you have to hit publish, and people need to have the stomach to be able to hit publish, that like, or the wherewithal and just the motivation and esteem to continue to do it when they're not seeing the admiration or results. And the only way that you're going to do it is if you love it. If you're actually like, yo, this was dope, I recorded a podcast, that was fun for me. That's how you're going
Mm-hmm.
to get up again and hit publish again tomorrow on a TikTok video or a podcast or whatever you're making and pursuing.
How would you say did the public initially respond to that? Because I've seen people who even worked with me at the time who was like, hey, there's nothing in that deck that can teach me anything that I don't know already. Like I had people who were literally with me and they were immediately removed from me after that. But they literally said things like that. How was the initial reaction?
I thought it was great. I thought we put out a tremendous, meaty, insightful, informational, resourceful deck and utility to try and help and empower people to make and bring value to them, you know. And it was
Mm-hmm.
entirely free. Like if you think it is garbage, amazing, then not costing you anything.
Yeah, for real. For
Like,
real. There's people.
and I think it's actually extremely practical, and like the feedback that I got overall was amazing. You know, anytime I'm out and about and like people bring up Gary or are like really close to what we're doing, they give a lot of kudos and credits, and they say that it changed the trajectory of their business, and or they actually just took that, put it on a website and started charging $20 for it. Literally, bro, this is why it fucks in my head sometimes, because
Yeah.
I literally see people like, yo, I just made $100,000 off of the Gary content model.
Wow. I
No
know
joke.
somebody
Like,
that
and
got,
not
yeah.
just like one, but like lots. I'm
The
not
part that
kidding.
gets
And so I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, wait, what did we just do?
yeah. As a brand manager, you're like, I don't know if that was the best move that we should have did.
I'm like, Gary, free? Like,
Gary, we might have to talk about this. Like, yo, we might have to have a quick conversation. One of my favorite pieces of that deck, by the way, is the notepad. I never really thought about that. And then all of a sudden I started seeing celebrities do it. Like the little notepad meshes where they would write to their fans and stuff like that.
well,
And
and like a bit, sorry to cut you off. It's like a big impetus specifically with that notepad in a general frame of reference is like, everyone's like, oh, cool, Gary, but you have a 30-person team. So my whole take on that was like, we need to try and make it applicable to you, to one person who has no fucking team, that they can really execute at scale, posting 100 pieces of content a day. Like, yeah, it's going to take 4 hours, 5 hours. It's really just going to take work and a little bit of creativity. But like, if you screenshot that notepad and you actually have some words that are meaningful, It's as good as having the best design in the world make those words.
That being said, it was so great having you here, Andy. Thank you again, and we're definitely going to try to have more of the team on in the future whenever we get things more up and running. And guys, you know, Andy, definitely follow him on all of his social media. We'll put all your social media in the description box below. And one of the best interviews that I've ever done over the past interviews that I've done. And I've learned a lot about branding. I've learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about being a creative, and I hope you did the same too. If you got any type of message from this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share on all of your social medias, and also hit that notification bell so that you will know when all of our next interviews are going to be coming out. I'm Antoine, that's Andy, and it's been great having you guys here. And like I always say, have a great day.